Hello to all you poker players out there, and welcome back to my YouTube channel where I try and do some nerdy and nitty gritty work in pot Limit Omaha. It's here on the dark side where we play with 4 cards instead of 2, and will be some real gambling occurring with a certain frequency because of that. Yesterday I managed to get in 922 hands. I actually won $14.77, and I actually should have won 23.4. But the average all-in equity was kind of low with 45.73. But I feel like I kind of rusty. I've been doing a lot of no limit work, and yeah, has just not been consistent in my PLO grinding, like the gameplay, the session review, the hand reviews, and stuff like that. And it kind of goes to show with some hands I will show today. It might be a little bit of a messy review, but I will do the best I can. So the first hand I'm gonna start with here is this one here, just to show that how to kind of keep sharp in everything we do. It is folded here to me on the button, and I sit with a nice double suited Jack 6-5 deuce, and I open up and I take down the pot. But I was thinking a little bit, is this actually an open? And I was just checking it up on the pre-flop helper, and as you can see, it is a fold 100% of the time. So a minus EV play I make there. So that was one mistake that didn't cost me anything, but it is still a mistake, and we can't afford to make too many of them. And I have a similar mistake. Just gotta find the hand here. Sorry. Okay. Just a second, we gotta find this hand. Can't be true that we can't figure this out. Just a second. So just gotta remove the heart. So here I'm in the small blind with ace 8-4 deuce, and we have a guy here which is sitting on 75-ish big blind. So hijack opens shall come in with a range of 22.6%, and button calls, and I have this like nuttiness in the ace, in the suited ace here in the small blind. But the thing is that it's gonna be too hard to get paid off and too hard to play a hand that is so disconnected as this one is. So it is a fold, but I go ahead and call. I actually end up losing a pot here. Flop a flush draw, which this guy has dominated. I have a backdoor flush draw and a gut shot too, so I do have equity. But now here I have 2 flush draws, and maybe I should donk out, but it wouldn't be a good idea because this guy turns a set, and I'm just gonna play it carefully. But he do go ahead and pots it. And here I have to call with a gut shot and 2 flush draws, but as you can see here, I am way behind, and he boats up, and here on the river he makes a very small bet, and I end up calling him down because I think like I knew he had a wide range he was playing, so there is some missed hearts, some missed 4, 5, 6 and stuff like that that he could have, that I had beat at that point. But I end up losing the pot, and as You can see here I put it into the pre-flop held. It's just a fold. So a mistake on my part. This one here. If we go and take a look at King, Jack, Jack, 7, single suited. Now it is a min open. If it's a pot sized open, then it's for sure a fold. Again, I can't remember. We can put it into, like I said, it's gonna be a little bit of a mess today with this review. Not like I haven't worked on it, but so if we try and ask the pre-flop helper here, we are 100 big blinds deep. We're on the button, and we put it in there. And it says that we can call free bets if we raise first in, but it doesn't say anything about cold calling. Now, if we change it a little bit and say that the spade is a diamond, then I would imagine it could change quite a bit. Yeah. Then we call versus early position. But yeah, I go ahead and call, and then there's this tiny free bet. It could be a misclick, but a weird thing happens in these games, and we're priced in. So the hand becomes actually kind of beautiful because I flop my top set, and this guy bets out, and this guy calls. He has like an overpair and a straight draw, and I obviously go ahead and raises it, and he calls, and I kind of turn a straight draw, have a little bit of a blocker to ace king, and turn a flush draw, and I just decide to go ahead and bet and get it in. But like you can see, it turned like top set a better hand, and still has this straight draw to go with it. So I end up getting it in with 35% equity, and also end up losing the hand. But like I flop a lot of equity and is happy to get it in, but it is a minus EV call pre-flop I make. This hand here, just gotta take the right kind of hands. Okay, not sure why I am this one here. Okay, we're gonna take this one over here first. Kind of in the same genre. I sit here with a ace, king, 6 deuce, single suit to the ace. Cutoff goes ahead and open, and this guy goes ahead and call. Now again, I probably have some stats on this guy that he is supposed to be quite wide, but in theory the small blind calling range there should be super tight. I don't know if we can see small blind. We would like to see small blind versus cutoff. Button we can get with versus button. There is no small blind versus cutoff, but and that's with the big blind. So the closest we can get is small blind versus button, and we see here it's a calling percent of 2.7. So it's in theory it shall be very narrow, and therefore I put this situation into the bucket tool where cutoff opens and small blind calls, and I said find out what is my folding and calling and raising. And we see I fold 75% of the time, and I call 17% of the time, and I squeeze 8.3. And if we just take and put ace king 6 deuce with diamond, club, heart, and diamond in here and filter for it, then we will see it is a fold every time, 100% of the time, and we lose one big blind when we fold, and that's just the way it is. So just not sharp enough in my pre-flop decisions, and this actually now he is shorter. He flopped top set and I flopped top and bottom, obviously not getting away from it here, so making a boat on the turn, and I am led to believe that he has some kind of flush, and with the stacks I cannot find a fold here on the river with the boat on this run out. But it all comes from a bad decision pre-flop, a minus EV decision pre-flop, and which also leads to losing a pot of 60 big blinds or something like that. The next hand that I would like to go through, that was this one here. Yeah, quite interesting. Queen 6-5-4. I have button was cut off, free bet. So in the hand I go ahead and free bet here. Cut off raises and I free bet. He calls, and the here on this board texture 975 rainbow. Here on the bucket tool I could find a rainbow 1075, and if we take queen 654, I think it was that, queen 654, spade, diamond, diamond, spade, and try and filter out, then it actually says that we should check here 100% of the time on a 10-7-5 board texture. I couldn't find a flop of 9-7-5, but and it complicates it a little bit more because there is a straight possible on 9-7-5, but it was the closest I could get. So but I do go ahead and check the flop, so I think that's fine. I will have some hands that hits this. I will actually have a lot of hands that hit this board texture quite hard, and we can also see we shall bet half pot 23% of the time, and we should bet full pot 26% of the time. But we shall also check a lot of the time. We shall actually check a hand like top set with a gut shot, with a straight draw, and a couple of back doors. So yeah, and we shall probably check all our aces and kings if we have stuff like that. I'm pretty sure about that. There's some aces hands with some gut shots and some future backdoor flush opportunities that can bluff on later street, we shall go ahead and bet. But we'll see here a hand like ace ace 7-5. It's just gonna check ace ace 7-5. It was quite an interesting spot that that I actually could go ahead and see just button versus cutoff, raise. No, just wait a sec. Button versus cutoff, raise pots, select and apply. And if we take again this queen 6-5-4, it was queen 6-5-4, right? Yeah. And say spade, diamond, diamond, spade, and apply. Then I should believe, yeah, we can raise it here. It actually says 100% of the time we should raise it. Just try and take the rest of the ranges in here. Would believe. Yeah, we will see here. It was a good thing I got it all in, because we are only supposed to free bet here very narrow, like 4.2% of the time. So basically we can say that this is, we can simplify the strategy to just say we call here 100% of the time, but it is a playable hand on the button versus the cutoff, with a call 95.8% of the time and a little bit of free betting. Yeah, I went ahead and free bet, and I checked flop. I turn a straight draw and a flush draw, or a straight, like the worst of the straights, and the flush draw. I like just to call and play rivers. Now I have a read on this guy on the river that he is very narrow there. So when he comes out going all in on the river, I feel fairly comfortable that I'm beat with some kind of set or boat. But quite an interesting spot, and quite interesting to put it through the bucket tool. It's a good exercise to use the bucket tool here. The next hand is gonna be, let's take a look at it. Yeah, this one here, like, tough spot. This guy has so bad aces, so he can actually go ahead and fold, I think. But I go ahead and free bet with a perfectly connected rundown double suited. So there's a 40 big blind stack over here that goes ahead and just cold 4-bet. And so here I need, like, I think I ran it over here versus these two ranges. Yep. So I end up having 29% equity, and this guy only have 27 with the king, jack 10-5 double suited. And bad aces has 43% equity. I was not able to fold it, because the thing is that when he do this, he should be super aces heavy, and this guy should fold a whole lot. So when he goes all in too, he should also be super aces heavy. And in that scenario, this hand plays very well. So yeah, I just ended up getting it in and flopping a flush, but he flops a higher flush, so that was the way that went. I think I have saved it here. Button was cut off. No, I didn't. No, because I wanted to show. I actually want to show how we try and set up this filter in the bucket tool. So I set it to PLO 50 and for 100 big blind stacks. So it's folded, it's folded, it's folded. This guy raises, so I go ahead and raise here, and now the big blind goes ahead and raise, and the button goes all in. And what do we do here in the small blind? Do we fold or call? And then we just download it, and I can call it a small blind versus big blind and button all in, for example. And so we just gotta get these ranges in here. We can take the raise first, and we can take the call, and we can take the folds. And then we can press apply here. We can also go ahead and say Queen, Jack, 10, 9, spade, diamond, spade. I think it was like that. And we can take a look at it here. And we're not folding. We are supposed to make one big blind per 100 times when we jam it in, and we're supposed to make half a big blind when we call. But the thing is that it's hard to set up these simulations because this guy is just a half stagger. Yeah, it's never too bad, but I have really got the last couple of weeks I've been running pretty well, and I've just got a 5-6 of these types of hands in all in preflop, where my opponents, like 3 ways, where my opponents was supposed to be super heavy, aces heavy, and they just didn't have aces more than one of the opponents had aces. So yeah, and then it doesn't play too well in that scenario. But that was what happened. And here, if we see, I have like 29% equity, and I need 39. Usually, like if they were aces and kings heavy, I would have like 43% equity, I think. But nevertheless, we are going on to the next hand here. Now I'm not even sure if this is a call on the button. I think it's fine. Don't know if I put it into the pre-flop help. I didn't, but we can try and take a look at it in the pre-flop helper, where we hold it is against the cutoff. That's what helps a little bit. Against a gun range, I could imagine this would be a fold because it's single suited. We need a little, or that 6 is a little bit too disconnected, so we need some more suitedness or some more connectivity, or both. But we're on the button, and It is a raise first in, but it doesn't say anything about calling. So, but I do go ahead and call. So again, not super sharp on the pre-flop game. Small blind calls then here with a hand he should not call with at all, and I flop a gut shot and the not flush draw. So I ran it in here. I think, yeah, I ran it like this. Like if instead of they have top two, that the one had a top, they have like set over set, like top set, middle set. How my actually equity would be there, and there I only have a 36% equity. We will see here when he bets out, and this guy. So I'm sitting here like he bet, he raises. It really looks like set over set, and I'm trying to figure out if I have enough equity to get it in. But we can see I have 37 nearly, and I probably need 35. So I just get it in, and what do you know? Here on the turn, I turn straight a royal flush. So nice turn card. But yeah, kind of a bad call pre-flop, and I can't remember. Did I set up this situation? Like I said, it's a little bit. Yeah, no, I don't think I did. It's a little bit of a messy review because I have been using so many different tools to work things out. But this will be the last hand for the day, and this is a fold. So I would just like to figure out if this is a correct fold. So we're all working in pre-flop today. Important street to work on. Button free bets, and I go ahead and fold double suited kings. My thinking was that if I call cold here, now this guy is obviously supposed to be quite wide, without being too wide actually. We have seen this before where we are on the button versus under the gun. It's only a free bet of 3.5% and a lot of calling. I don't know if we can find. Yeah, we can. We have to treat this like under the gun, but it is actually quite a narrow free betting range is having here, in theory, and in that scenario, these double suited kings doesn't really play too well. But the thing is, I would like to try and set up the situation here, and the way we do that in the bucket tool is that we go back to the root and we just make sure we have it on PLO 50 for 100 big blinds, and this is a fold, this was a raise, this is a fold, and this is a raise, this is a fold, and this is the ranges. We want to take a look at free bet versus middle position. I would believe they are super narrow, these ranges, and you just have to figure out what we do. So we can take the fold first, and then we can take the call, and then we can take the the cold 4-bets and applied, and I think it was like king 8-3 spade club spade club, and yeah, 100% fold. In theory, it is a 100% fold, and we lose that big blind we have posted, and that is about it. We can also try and take a look at the more overall frequency in this spot, where we fold 96.2% of the time. We basically don't call. We either cold 4 or fold in that spot. So for once I made something correct. So what kind of hands is actually cold 4 baiting, which is not aces? Yeah, well, actually ace 10 8-4. Wow. And it even loses 1.6 big blind. Huh. That's weird. All the aces, of course, are cold 4 betting. Is there any argument for folding like terrible aces? Spade, club, diamond, heart. In that spot, I think there could be an argument for actually folding terrible aces. No, they're gonna get it in. Okay. But quite interesting what kind of hands that's going ahead and cold 4 betting here. Where just gotta see through a little bit to find something else than aces. I mean, if we're not supposed to call cold with some double suited rundowns, then they're probably just gonna get it in. Gee. Okay. Here we go. So there's, yeah, like ace 8 7 6 double suited. That's with the blockers. Ace king 10 7, ace king 10 7, and these queen jack 10 8, like the perfect, not perfect rundowns, but the very connected double suited rundowns. A little bit surprised a hand like ace 10 8 6 with these gaps just going to cold 4 bet, and it actually only yields like 0.9 minus big blind per hand. It's good enough because we're gonna lose one when we fold. So double suited queens are actually just gonna go cold 4 bet, which is, yeah, can't imagine that will be very, very good out in real life. And then there's these very, very connected double suited, like this disconnected queen jack 6-5. I mean, really. And then there's the king's hand here, which is single suited. Quite interesting. Okay, here come like the jack 10-9 type of hands, which is also just gonna get it in. Yeah, that's more understandable, but I am quite surprised what kind of hands we're getting it in with here as a cold 4-bet. As said, the button is not as wide as you might think in this spot here. The calling ranges is way wider. So, but nevertheless, this was the session review and the hand reviews for today, and I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was a little bit of a messy session. Then I think it was quite informative, and I wish you all the best of luck in life.